Alright, welcome back, Brush Monkeys. Today I want to talk about, take a moment and talk about research materials. There's not a whole lot of research that's involved in miniature painting for the most part, because what you're painting is going to be fantasy figures, and they can be any color you want. Like, if I was to take this little demonette figure here, I could paint her pretty much any figure I want. If I want to go for kind of a Slaanesh look, I'd paint her maybe a little purple. Maybe I could paint her skin red with some red wings, make her look, more traditional, demon-colored. But you could do pretty much anything you want with them. So there's not a whole lot of research that has to be done on them. But occasionally you want to do something and have it come out looking right. Or maybe you don't know what a creature is or how it's supposed to look. And that was the case with these two creatures. This one, I thought originally was a spider, or some kind of giant spider, but then I realized those two front things that I took to be legs were actually some kind of mandible, and it only had 6 legs, and it's got this little kind of segmented carapace underneath it there, that it was very clear it was some kind of bug, but I didn't know what kind it was. And this thing, I had no idea what this thing was. This was in a grab bag full of a bunch of different Reaper Bones figures. And not having ever actually played Dungeons & Dragons, I didn't know what it is. I feel a little embarrassed saying that, this is probably a fairly common monster that people have come across, and I have no idea what it is. But there are lots of different places you can go to find out what it is. For example, I found this book at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, or maybe it was Half Price Books. I can't remember what. But it's a little spiral-bound book, and it's got a lot of different... It's mostly how to draw fantasy things, but there is some in the planning stages, and there is some pictures in here of different creatures, and so you get an idea of what something is. This can be a good reference for what something is or how to color something. This is... I don't think it's the most recent version of the Monster Manual, but I picked this up at like Barnes & Noble or something. And thumbing through this, see if I can just find it real quick. There it is. It's a carrion crawler. Found that little picture of it. That looks almost exactly like the little figure. Little creepy crawler that I got there. And it's a nice color picture of the creature, so I can use that as my reference when I'm painting them. And hopefully it'll come out looking kind of similar to that when I'm done with them. The other creature, I determined was probably, I had to keep thumbing through here, I figured out it was probably a firebug, but this did not have the pictures of the firebugs in it. It described them, and it said what the stats were on it and what have you, and so I figured out it was probably a firebug. I didn't know what firebugs look like, and I didn't want to just paint this thing like a regular gray-brown or black that, typical bug would be. So my other reference, and I'll boot it up here, is Pinterest. And this can be a great resource for it. I've got a whole board here of just painting references for hazmat suits, for some poxwalkers I was painting a while back, mushrooms I was painting on a creature, had animals for, like the animals board I used for painting octopuses and tentacles on some of the Nurgle creatures. I've also got some pictures of hyenas that I use for painting gnolls. All kinds of different stuff on there, but yeah, one of them is fire beetles. Now this is actual fire beetles. This isn't the Dungeons & Dragons fire beetle, although there's pictures of that in here too. And they've actually got a picture of the Reaper figure. That's apparently what that is. It's a fire beetle. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it similar to something like this. Paint that kind of orange and black color scheme on it, and I think that's going to look really spiffy. But that's what an actual, like, real-life fire beetle looks like. That's not a Dungeons & Dragons fire beetle. But Pinterest can be a great resource for any kind of painting you want to do. Non-metallic metals, they've got a lot of stuff on there that show you step-by-step how to do non-metallic metals. I'll get into that in the future. But that's really all there is to it. It's a great resource for getting into miniature painting. And it's another tool that you can put in your toolbox. like I said, this wasn't going to be a really long video. It was just kind of an idea of something that you could do. The other thing you can look at when you're painting is, let me grab one of them down. If you get into, and I ran into this a while back when I got the Shadow Wars Armageddon box set, is I hadn't painted orcs in a long time, and I didn't know what all the different factions of Warhammer 40k orcs were, because the last time I played orcs was back before I got into 40k, so it was Warhammer Fantasy orcs. So I went and found this. This is an old orc codex I got this at Half Price Books for like $6, if that. I think it was maybe like 3 or 4. And the great thing about these old codexes is while you're not looking for the rules, you're just looking for color schemes. They've got color pictures of all the different clans and what they look like. And I figured out that I wanted one of them to be Bad Moons, so these are the pictures I use as my reference. I wanted the other group that I had to paint to be Evil Sons, so there you go. I've got reference pictures for them down here too. And this was a really valuable resource for me. And I didn't need the orc rules because I've got orc rules in the Shadow Wars Armageddon rulebook. I just needed the color scheme for them. So you can pick up these old codexes at like used bookstores or half-price books, or sometimes you can find them cheap at your local game store. Sometimes they're just looking to get rid of them. And they can be a great resource for if you just want to get an idea of what the color scheme is supposed to look like. And there's a lot of other older books. The Citadel Painting Guide is a good one. This is the latest one they came out with, but heck, I've got some of the old school ones. They look like this, the Heavy Metal Painting Guide. This thing I've just about worn out. You can see I've beaten it all up. That's a great guide for painting miniatures. You can pick up the Wargamers Army Painting Guide from Army Painter free at pretty much any gaming store that sells Army Painter paints and brushes, and it takes you step by step how to paint miniatures. It's pretty good resource. White Dwarf Magazine is another great place to go to get painting tips and tricks. This is an older issue, but they've all got tons of color pictures in here that can show you what the figures are supposed to look like. In the back, there's even, breakdown color schemes for different factions. They've even got like step-by-step how-tos in there for painting different stuff. And you don't have to use that as a guide. I mean, that's not the be-all, end-all of painting miniatures. But if you're really stuck for ideas and inspiration, it can be a resource to go to. It can be something to pick up. So there's a lot of different places you can go when you want to find out what a miniature is, or find out how to paint it. If you're just stuck for inspiration and have no idea what colors to make something. So that's it for this video. That's all I got for today. Have a good day, y'all. Bye. Hey everybody, Tom from Flying Monkey Studios here. Thanks for watching my videos. If you like what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to be notified when new videos come out, click subscribe. And in the meantime, if you want to support me in any way, check out my Patreon site, Facebook page, and Instagram page. And comment below on what you want to see on future videos. Thanks a lot. See you later.